There's a power inside of you that most likely has been misunderstood, a force you may have unintentionally misused. Yet this very force, when properly redirected, holds the capacity to radically change your entire life. I'm speaking about sexual energy, more specifically, sexual transmutation, a concept introduced by one of the sharpest minds in the realm of personal development, Napoleon Hill. When Hill penned Think and Grow Rich, he wasn't just writing a book about accumulating wealth. He was crafting a psychological framework built on decades of studying the world's most successful men. Over 25 years, he analyzed the lives of more than 500 accomplished individuals: presidents, inventors, entrepreneurs, artists. And among all the foundational principles he presented, desire, faith, specialized knowledge, auto-suggestion, there was one that made readers pause in disbelief: the mystery of sexual transmutation. Hill described sex as the most powerful of all human desires, and he was absolutely correct. No other force has the potential to make a man conquer, build, innovate, or even destroy, like sexual energy.
But here's what Hill uncovered. The men who achieved extraordinary success weren't slaves to this force. They had learned to harness it. They transmuted it into ambition, into genius, into a legacy. So, what exactly is sexual transmutation? Let's break it down. To transmute something is to alter its form or nature. In this case, it's taking sexual energy and transforming it from physical expression into the pursuit of greatness, be it wealth, creativity, innovation, or impact. According to Hill, sexual desire isn't limited to the body. It touches your mind, emotions, and spirit. And when it's focused, not repressed, it becomes a jet engine for achievement. He never preached repression or denial of your sexuality. His message was simple: don't run from it, redirect it, let it serve your mission. Why does this matter so much? Because at its root, sexual energy is creative energy. It is, quite literally, the power to bring life into existence. If not expressed physically, that energy doesn't vanish. It remains in your system, your body, your mind, your nervous pathways. If left unfocused, it morphs into frustration, restlessness. But when properly channeled, it transforms into fuel, raw, potent, and explosive. And science backs this up. Elevated levels of testosterone, when preserved, increase drive, sharpen focus, enhance willpower, and bring out a positive form of aggression. You become hungrier, sharper, more aware. But here's the catch. This only activates when the energy is channeled into something bigger than yourself. Otherwise, lust dominates, and self-indulgence takes the wheel. Hill's studies of the greats in Think and Grow Rich revealed something remarkable. The most impactful men weren't free of desire. They had intense sexual drives, but they had also developed the discipline to turn that inner fire into purpose. He mentioned men like Napoleon Bonaparte, who funneled his intensity into conquering empires; George Washington, whose reputation for loyalty and control was legendary; Thomas Edison, whose obsessive commitment to invention was, in Hill's eyes, a product of sexual energy converted into innovation; and Abraham Lincoln, a man Hill believed had a fiery nature, but who redirected it toward purpose, vision, and justice. These men weren't without sexual desire, they simply didn't let it rule their minds. Let's not sugarcoat it. Most men today are ruled by lust. Pornography addiction is epidemic. Instant pleasure is normalized. Discipline is mocked. And we still wonder why so many men walk through life feeling numb, unfocused, and hollow. Hill warned us decades ago, most men never gain control of their sexual impulses. When driven by that unchecked desire, men act recklessly, irrationally. But Hill wasn't attacking sex. He was exalting it, elevating its importance. He warned that if you allow this energy to go unchecked, it'll wreck your life. But if you master it, train it, and transmute it, it becomes the engine of your legacy. So how do you practice this today in the modern world? Let me break it down. First, practice semen retention. Let the pressure build. This isn't about permanent celibacy. It's about refusing to casually throw away your life force. Every careless release diminishes your vitality, weakens your focus, suppresses your testosterone, and chips away at your willpower. Try going 30 days without pornography. Try 30 days of purposeful restraint. Watch how your mind gets clearer, how your body feels more electric, how your drive to build grows stronger. That pressure inside of you, it's your rocket fuel. Second, redirect the energy. When that urge arises, don't suppress it. Redirect it. Use it to push harder in your work. Train harder at the gym. Study, create, build, execute. Speak boldly. Move with purpose. Lead with direction, instead of lust. Hill wrote, "A man who develops the ability to transmute sexual energy discovers that it fuels all his accomplishments." Third, choose a higher purpose. Sexual energy requires structure. Without a mission, that energy will find its way into indulgence. You have to set a direction. Ask yourself, what am I creating that matters more than my next release? If the answer is unclear, you'll stay stuck in the loop of temporary gratification and long-term regret. But if you're building a brand, a business, or a lasting legacy, then your discipline becomes sacred. Fourth, heed Hill's final warning. In one of the most profound parts of his chapter, he wrote, "Sexual energy is the creative energy of all geniuses. There has never been, and never will be, a great leader, thinker, or builder without this force." This isn't optional. If greatness is your goal, it's essential.
And here lies your choice. You can indulge your urges and remain stagnant. Or you can transmute that energy into a force the world can't ignore. Because in the end, the disciplined man will always surpass the distracted one. Fifth, master the fire. To every man hearing this, you are not weak for feeling desire. You are not broken for wanting intimacy. You carry one of the most divine forces in existence. But without mastery, that power becomes destructive. Sexual transmutation isn't just a strategy, it's a philosophy, a lifestyle, a sacred decision to take your natural energy and use it to build instead of destroy, to lead instead of wander, to leave a legacy instead of chasing relief. Napoleon Hill gave us the framework. The responsibility now lies in your hands. There is an ancient energy within you, a primal fire that once dictated the survival of our species. Today, that same fire can write symphonies, spark revolutions, and build empires. Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, named this process sublimation, the psychological alchemy of transforming base desires into greatness. Let's explore it. In Freud's theory, human actions stem from unconscious drives, chief among them, libido, the sexual drive. But libido, according to Freud, isn't just physical, it's life energy itself. It's what propels our behaviors, dreams, and emotional patterns. Yet society doesn't allow us to express that energy in its rawest form. If every urge was acted on, civilization would unravel. So what becomes of that repressed fire? Freud answered clearly, it gets rerouted, redirected into socially acceptable and often highly creative pursuits. This is sublimation, the transformation of primal impulse into elevated form, turning desire into discipline, lust into legacy, instinct into innovation. Here's where many people go wrong. Sublimation is not suppression. Suppression is denial, bottling your desire and pretending it doesn't exist. but repressed energy builds pressure. And eventually, it explodes into addiction, rage, or emotional breakdowns. Sublimation, however, is about recognition and redirection. It's about seeing the desire and giving it a greater path. Picture someone with aggressive impulses who becomes a warrior, firefighter, or martial artist. Or a person with intense sensuality who channels it into dancing, writing, designing. A teenager drowning in lust becomes an artist, a poet, an entrepreneur. This is not repression, it's transformation. Freud didn't see sublimation as personal only. He believed it to be the foundation of civilization. In Civilization and Its Discontents, he claimed that without sublimation, culture would collapse. No music, no architecture, no philosophy. Everything mankind has created has been born from raw energy, refined through discipline. Just look at Michelangelo, who painted the Sistine Chapel ceiling over 4 grueling years. Tesla, who remained celibate and turned his energy into world-shaping invention. Beethoven, deaf and tormented, yet composing beauty. Even Freud himself, whose relentless probing of the human mind redefined psychology. These were men of passion. But they were more than that. They transcended passion. Sublimation matters now more than ever. In a culture obsessed with indulgence, we're told to act on every urge, to chase whatever feels good. But this has made us more anxious, more depressed, more hollow than ever before. Because a life of unchecked desire leads to emptiness. But a life of sublimated desire leads to fulfillment. Freud warned, remove the pressure to sublimate, and society regresses. Discipline vanishes. Greatness disappears. And that's exactly what we're seeing today. We scroll endlessly, numb ourselves with dopamine, and call it normal. Freud predicted it, but he also reminded us, the goal is not to kill desire. The goal is to elevate it. Let's talk about how to apply this now. First, observe the urge. Don't deny it, recognize it. When you feel lust, aggression, or obsession, pause. Don't act. Just witness it. This is step 1. Awareness. Second, give the energy a higher route. Go write, go build, train, study, create. Use the surge to take action. Make it a habit. Every time you feel desire, it leads somewhere productive. Third, delay gratification. Sublimation requires waiting. Strengthen your will by not reacting to every emotional or physical urge. That builds depth. Fourth, build morning rituals. Start your day directing your energy upward. Reading, journaling, reflecting, building before distractions enter. Fifth, shape your surroundings. Fill your space with art, music, people, and symbols that elevate you. Your environment influences your instinct. Make sure it uplifts. To sublimate is to transform instinct into immortality. This is the root of art, genius, leadership, and discipline. Freud gave us this truth. No matter how raw your desire, no matter how chaotic your inner world, you can forge it. Like steel under fire. Desire can become destiny. Impulse can become impact. Lust can become legacy. Within you burns a fire, an ancient, noble power. You can waste it on distractions, or you can sculpt it into greatness. You're not weak for feeling desire, you're human. You're not flawed for seeking pleasure or intimacy. You are alive. But the modern world wants you to be a slave to impulse, a slave to screens, a passive reactor. The seeker doesn't react. The seeker chooses, he disciplines, he transcends. Sexual transmutation and sublimation, they are roads to real power. Not power over others, but over yourself. And that is the rarest and highest power a man can have. You were born for more. More than addiction, more than shallow pleasure, more than regret. You were born to create, to lead, to forge your name in history. Napoleon Hill gave us the map. Freud gave us the method. The question now is, will you walk the path? Will you master the fire, or let it master you? Because the man who can channel his deepest desires can light up the world.